Here is the metal armature for Sasha in her blue mold, made of Mold Star 30. Here's a better photo of the chest assembly prior to casting in the mold. Here are two 1/4-inch balls on an 1/8-inch rod. It's all made of 17-4 stainless steel. I call this finished part a dumbbell. The center ball was brazed previously. I'm adding the second ball, adding flux. I'm heating away from the finished piece first, so the center of the rod isn't cold. I want that heat to come from the center out. The flame's at 3700 degrees Fahrenheit, and the silver solder melts at 1200. I guess it's actually silver braze because of the temperature. It's 56% silver, and then like 1/4 of it is made of copper. Stuff costs like 32 cents an inch. Here we're looking at the finished piece. I can see the finished silver braze. It looks goldish colored. I can see it on the end there. That looks red as rain. All of this fire scale will clean up well on the steel brush. Here I am cutting off the excess rod. I put a groove in the rod to help the solder flow between the ball and the rod, and not on the surface of that rod on the first ball. And you can see that little groove there. Here I am cutting off this last little bit here, just being careful, and carefully cutting off this side, and I'll clean up all the last little bits on the steel brush. That little dumbbell, I call it, goes between the lower and upper double ball joints. The lower double ball joint handles shrugs like, I don't know, man. And the upper joint handles moving the arm like that chicken dance, flapping your arms, or swinging your arms like that little monkey doll with the clapping cymbals. So if you have the two sets of double ball joints there, you get more flexibility out of the puppet. The more joints, the more flexibility. The larger the joints, the more control, the more strength you have to fight against the silicone that wants to pop back into shape. Putting a single ball joint in the vise. This will be one of the neck joints. The ball and the pin that I'm preparing to put in here absolutely must have a groove in it to allow venting steam out of that little hole. The flux is a paste made of powder and water. As the flux goes through 200 degrees Fahrenheit during brazing, the water turns into steam and steams off. That steam has to exhaust through that little groove. If there is no exhaust groove, then the pin just pops out. It just goes doink, and you have to fight to get it back in there. You have to start over and do it again. But put that little vent groove in there, and it'll settle right down and stay where it's told, stay where it's put. Waiting for this joint to cool off. Make sure it's cool enough not to move. We'll cool that off in water. Putting in the upper neck joint. The lower neck joint handles moving the head side to side, like towards one your ear towards one shoulder versus the other shoulder. The joint I'm putting in now handles the head nodding movement, like you're nodding yes or no, like you're putting your chin down towards your chest. So between those two joints, you get both axes of movement, left and right, and up and down. And here's a finished picture of the finished chest assembly.